Hello and welcome back to, you guessed it, the Love Being Alone with me, your host, Lynn. What's up, you guys? I am so giddy about today's topic. It is something that I've been meaning to do for a while, but for some reason I haven't got around to covering it. Today, I'm going to talking about my favorite coffee routine for the summer. It's a summertime, you guys. It's a summertime. We're in the thick of it. We are battling this brutal heat wave almost on a daily basis, like legitimately, which can be very daunting, but we're already halfway through. So keep it up. We're gonna get through it together. Come to think of it, I feel like I haven't been living it up this summer like I did the summers in the past. I haven't gone any trips. I've never gone to the beach. Like I barely done anything summery since 2021. The last 2 or 3 years, my summers have been a kind of bit dull, I'll say. I've kind of forgotten that it was a summer. Like ever since I went to California, I've been so caught up in my work. You know, getting everything back on track and putting my life together. And I've just spent the majority of my time indoors, working on my computer, staying away from the outdoor activities. Because when you become an adult and start working, your schedule is not as flexible as it used to be, right? Especially if you're 9 to 5, you have to coordinate your vacation with your coworkers. So you sort of have to create your own version of summer break that includes working, right? And so it's a bit more challenging to truly experience the joy of summer the older you get, which can be pretty shame because you also start feeling some sort of fear of missing out and comparing your summer to everyone else's on social media. Like when you scroll through social media, you're bound to feel like everyone else's summer always looks so much better than yours. You might think like, wow, this person is going to Europe. Whoa, this person is having an extravagant tropical vacation in Hawaii. You also seeing people posting in their bathing suits and they look all hot. Like, it's such a time of comparison. And so that's why this year, I'm very determined to really figure out a solid, functional summer routine where I put my phone down, first and foremost, manage my internet addiction as much as possible, stay in the present, and make the most out of it. I think it's really important to be able to have fun days by yourself, and I really try to make an extra effort to find some small happiness in my daily life. Here's a fun fact about me. I'm somebody who is not a summer person, actually. I mean, the weather-wise, I'm not a big fan of summer. I'm more of a fall/winter person. But even then, there are small things that I indulge in during summer. For example, seasonal produce. I know this is very inconsequential, but hear me out. Recently, I've been buying and eating lots of produce that's in season. I mean, I guess in any season, it's nice to do that, but particularly during summer, I'm more leaning into it. So personally, I've been really obsessed with plums and nectarines. I don't know why it is, but they are so good. They are really good. The only problem is I can eat like 40 of these in one sitting. Like once I start, I cannot stop. And I also have so many different stone fruits in my fridge right now. I have my plums, I have my cherries, I have my peaches, and it's so delightful. Also, another thing that I indulge is iced coffee. Like there's something about summer that makes feel like you have the freedom to drink iced coffee at any given moment. It's refreshing. And you don't have to worry about getting cold or something. I mean, obviously you can only consume so much in a day, but you get what I'm saying. But just so you know, I'm not a tea person actually. I don't really like tea or juice or any other beverages for the matter. I rarely drink them consistently. They're not really appealing to me. But if I do, I usually go for matcha. Matcha is probably the only tea that I enjoy occasionally, but for the most part, I am a die-hard coffee person. I am a huge coffee person, so Let's start from there, okay? Let me briefly walk you through my coffee history. I went through my entire life up until my early 20s without having a single cup of coffee because my mom never let me drink. She was very strict about caffeine consumption, which I find totally understandable. I mean, consuming caffeine, especially if you're teenagers, it's not good. It's not good for your body since it's very addictive and could lead to dependence, right? I mean, understandably so. However, I've always been tempted to try coffee because the smell is incredibly appealing. Like when it comes to the best aromas in the world, I'll argue that coffee ranks in the top 3, in my humble opinion. So anyway, when I was a child, whenever my mom and grandma took a coffee break, they always had an instant coffee, Korean instant coffee from Maxim. If you're Korean, you know what I'm talking about. Like there's something about the smell of an instant coffee that's so addictive. I mean, it's so addictive. I literally die for. So whenever they were having coffee, you know what I did? I would purposely circle around them to sneak a sip from my grandma's cup while my mom was got distracted. Because as I mentioned, my mom didn't allow me to try coffee, but my grandma, like most grandmas in the world, was very generous. You know how grandmas are. They always go easy on their grandchild, right? So basically, I was sitting next to my grandma while they chatted, and when my mom got distracted for a moment, I'll quickly sip a coffee from my grandma's cup, then put it back and act like normal. It all happened in a split second, and I thought I was getting away with it, but looking back, there's just absolutely no way she didn't notice. Long story short, I've always been intrigued by coffee since I was a child. That's when my relationship with coffee began. But I try to be as patient as possible until I become an adult, so I can enjoy it freely, without any guilt. Over time, I think I've gone through so many transitions in my coffee preference. In retrospect, I didn't have a solid preference for coffee taste. I would just, see what other people are drinking and follow them. Like if one of my friends ordered an americano, I would be like, oh, that's cool. Can you make it a bit? Like that's what I did. You get what I'm saying? So it's safe to say that I didn't have a spine. But as I got older and traveled a lot, my coffee taste has evolved a lot, and slowly but surely, I've started to solidify my own coffee preference. But one thing that stuck with me is that I like strong coffee. I've always really liked strong coffee. Actually, one of my biggest pet peeves is coffee that's watery, okay? I personally am drawn to the flavor that's less sweet and more coffee forward. So if it's too milky or too watery, out of here. So as a coffee lover, if not a coffee connoisseur, I'm self-proclaimed by the way, I'm literally self-proclaimed. I just am so excited to dive into it. But just a reminder, everyone has different tastes, everyone has different preferences. However, if you're a coffee drinker, if you're a coffee lover, if you're a coffee aficionado, I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy this episode and maybe get some inspirations. So without further ado, let's take a ride into the coffee world. Let's start with my home coffee recipe. I don't know what has gotten into me, but I've started loving to begin my day with hot coffee recently, which is very unusual because I rarely drank hot coffee before. I've always stuck iced coffee for the most part, regardless of the weather, like many Koreans do, but at some point, I started leaning more into hot coffee. I feel like my last trip to Italy has definitely influenced my taste buds. Like ever since I went to Italy, I become more appreciative of espresso. Or maybe deep down, I'm kind of envy Italians who order an espresso with a croissant at the bar in the morning. Like, they look so cool, aren't they? So I don't know, I just feel like I got inspired by them because I've never really been that person. And it's taken a level of courage to get there, to get familiar with an espresso since it's way too strong and kind of out of my comfort zone. I mean, it's a work in progress, right? It's a work in progress. So it's taken quite a bit of trial and error to get to a place where I can fully implement into my coffee routine. But now I'm becoming that person. And wow, thank God. This is such a new wave of my coffee routine. And now I'm at the place where I almost depended on it. So this is my typical morning coffee ritual. I made myself a double shot of espresso, or maybe 3 shots. I can alternate, but then always with a splash of milk. Whether it's a whole milk, oat milk, almond milk, like whatever milk is available in my fridge. Because for me, milk is such a key ingredient because it sort of dilutes the bitterness of the espresso. Now, this is such a hot take, but I drink whole milk. My body can handle it. I feel like it's so taboo nowadays. Everyone's like, you drink whole milk? Like, especially when I was in America, I rarely saw people mixing coffee in whole milk. I rarely saw that. They mostly go with oat milk or almond milk. But I find myself pretty unbiased when it comes to milk. First of all, I'm not lactose tolerant, okay? Which I couldn't be more grateful for. Like, I can't imagine my life as a non-dairy person. Like, I do love dairy milk. I grew up in a dairy household, but I also do enjoy non-dairy milk as well. I'm very open to pretty much every type of milk. So when I make myself an espresso, I use my mocha pot every single day, which I've already mentioned in a previous episode. Go listen to that if you want. It's called my weekend routine, I guess. But here's the thing. I recently found some hacks on YouTube that many baristas suggest using boiling water to brew faster and better, which I didn't even realize until recently. I used to put in cold water or sometimes even tap water because I'm such a lazy gal, but my bad. I didn't acknowledge that. So now I use boiling water. I put boiling water in the bottom chamber, then add the ground coffee into the basket. Don't press down, by the way. I don't press down. And then secure the top and put it on the stove. Then once the mocha pot makes a hissing sound, immediately take it off the heat and pour into a glass. And then, like I said, I add some milk. I add some splash of milk, and that's it. That's how I make my espresso. Next, once I finish my espresso, I move on to my second round. The second drink of the day that I stick to, particularly during summer, is a cold brew. I think I'm either an iced latte person and cold brew person. I like both of them equally. Well, not exactly equally, but I do enjoy both of them. But there's something about cold brew that's so summery and refreshing, which is why I like the most. Now, you might wonder, Lynn, what is the difference between tastes? What's the flavor difference between regular coffee and cold brew? Well, based on my experience, I feel like cold brew is more chocolatey and it's more acidic. I don't know, it's more zippy. I feel like I'm getting more caffeine, even if that's true or not. I assume the acidic flavor is really hit or miss for many coffee drinkers because some people prefer low acid, some people prefer smooth. Like, for me personally, I always used to be against acidic coffee. It just doesn't align with me. You know, it just doesn't align with my taste. But weirdly, cold brew, I think cold brew is acceptable. I don't know why, but I don't mind the acidness of cold brew. I really don't mind. And see, what I like to do is I like to pre-game my cold brew with a double shot of espresso. So I drink my espresso. It's so cute. It's so romantic. And it's my little morning ritual. Then, half an hour later, I go and make a cold brew. When my espresso in hand, it's it feels like I'm happy, I'm peaceful. But the second that I have my cold brew, that's when the power begins. That's when things start moving, right? I'm in power mode, I'm in sport mode, I'm in go mode. I'm ready to raise my voice, okay? So when I record my podcast, I normally set up my drink session. I mean, as I should, I have to constantly sip on water to avoid dehydration while I'm talking. Also, I have to make sure my coffee sits next to me with my water side by side so I can get a little caffeinated to fully lock in. You get what I'm saying? I gotta bring my A game here. This is not a joke. I tend to my podcast very seriously. Like, I have to fully concentrate it. So that is my current drink setup. When I make myself a cold brew, I normally use a cold brew concentrate. And let me tell you, I do love cold brew, but I don't like making it. You know, I don't like making from scratch. I'm not into that. Like, I'm gonna be real honest with you guys. There's a lot of things I'm good at, but I sincerely don't even know how to press cold brew. I mean, it's more or less I'm not tend to teach myself. You get what I'm saying? I find myself a lazy coffee drinker, which is part of the reason I use a mocha pot instead of actual coffee machine. But one thing that shames me the most when it comes to cold brew is that when I was in LA, there are so many cold brew options out there. Like whenever I went to the grocery store, they had cold brew coffee bags, store-bought cold brew can. Like there are tons of options available. Whereas in Korea, the options are relatively fewer. We don't have that many varieties, right? Well, I guess maybe it's because Koreans prefer an iced americano over cold brew. Like, I don't know, I'm not so sure about that, but for a cold brew person, the cold brew concentrate is arguably the easiest way to make cold brew at home. So let me know, by any chance, if you have any recommendations other than concentrate. I'm very open to hear that. Now let's run down my cold brew recipe and then move on. So the first step is fill a glass with ice all the way up, then pour approximately 2 or 3 ounces of concentrate, and then pour the oat milk. Then, final touch, I add some condensed milk for a slight kick of sweetness. The condensed milk, specifically, is a key ingredient because it really elevates the flavor and really goes well with coffee. Like, there are so many options for your sweetener. Like, you can truly use anything else. You can use simple syrup, vanilla syrup, creamer, sugar, whatever you prefer. But if you want a bit of thickness, I can guarantee you can't go wrong with condensed milk. So yeah, that's how I make my cold brew latte at home. Now, let's turn to my coffee order at a coffee shop. What I normally order, what my go-to drink is, and what my coffee order says about me, etc. I actually don't often branch out my coffee drinks. I usually stick to what I like, which is a nice cold brew latte or vanilla latte. So it's not very contextual or seasonal. Like, I'm not going to try new things at Starbucks, like a frappuccino, mocha, or smoothie. See, I don't even know. For me, it's just a nice little cold brew latte. That's like my default safe order. Like, it's my safe order if I know I need caffeine and don't really want to mess around with ordering like coffee or espresso. And it's also my for here order. So if I'm going to be studying or working somewhere, that's the drink that I want sitting next to me the whole time. Now I all of a sudden miss sitting at a coffee shop and working at a coffee shop so much. I mean, you know the feeling? When you go to a coffee shop and you're like, oh, it's so nice that I can hear, I can't wait to study. And then you're just scrolling through Instagram for 4 hours and you didn't get anything done. Honestly, there's something about the concept of studying at a coffee shop that's a little distracting. You know, it's really hard to focus. Essentially, you are paying for the coffee and free internet, right? You're basically paying for the seat to stay on your phone while your laptop is on the table and you just pass the time. But at the same time, I feel I think it's a fun little activity, you know? When you sit down with a cup of coffee and they just buzz and kind of hum around you and the baristas over there. I mean, it's a little fun activity. Speaking of, I kind of like to weigh my thoughts on Starbucks real quick. I mean, it's hard not to discuss it, right? Since they're maybe the genesis of all coffee chains in the world. I honestly am not a big fan of Starbucks. I literally like the cafes better than Starbucks. I'd rather go to a cute little cafe in my town, even if I have to pay more. Like, the only occasion that I'm willing to go to Starbucks is probably when I have a coupon. You know what I mean? Like if someone hands me some free coffee coupons, or gets me some coupons as a birthday gift or whatever, I would definitely go there to use them. But other than that, they are not really appealing to me. I don't know. I definitely do not go there on a constant basis. In my honest opinion, I find Starbucks in America is by far better than in Korea. I mean, no hates. If you love Starbucks in Korea, by all means, please go enjoy it. But I think when it comes to variety, options, and even flavor for the matter, they are unmatched. I mean, maybe it only makes sense since Starbucks is originally from Seattle, but Starbucks in Korea, I don't know. They need to step it up. What is so great about Starbucks or any other coffee shop in general in America is that they have tons of milk options. They have whole milk, 2% milk, heavy cream, half and half, vanilla sweet cream, soy milk, coconut milk, and macadamia milk, hemp milk. You have plenty of options that you can customize, which can be so delightful. The other coffee that I ordered at a cafe is definitely an iced americano or hot americano. It really depends on the season. But here's the problem. With an iced americano, a lot of times, they don't make it right. And I mean, listen, I'm not a trained barista. I don't make the perfect americano. I don't make the perfect latte. But a lot of times, when you order an iced americano at a cafe, they add water first and don't put enough espresso in. And then when you get the drink, it's kind of watery. It tastes like water. So every time I order an iced americano, I have to get an extra shot of espresso so that my drink doesn't taste like water. The way I like to make an iced americano might be a little controversial, but here's what I do. I put a very negligible amount of water at the end. I don't add water first. My method is a bit different. So basically I put a lot of ice in all the way up. Then I pour an espresso, double shots, triple shots, it depends. And then I mix it up to get espresso really cold. Then I pour water on top. If you like strong coffee like I do, I think this method works better. Because once the espresso starts melting the ice, it already becomes watery. Therefore, you don't need to fill the cup with the water first. I don't know. I know what works for me. It might not work for everyone, but I personally love the full of bitterness of iced americano. You know what? I actually stumbled upon the best affordable coffee place a few months ago, and I'm about to share with you guys because it's too good not to share. In fact, I'm late. I'm very late. Like, this place has only gone viral probably a year ago or 2 years ago, and I heard nothing but good things about them. I mean, the hype was weird. So a few months back, I finally got around to try the coffee from GS. Yeah, GS convenience store. And my God, did they make my jaw drop? Yes. Yes, they did. They went above and beyond my expectations. Initially, my expectations were a little bit low, considering the fact that they are a convenience store, not an actual cafe. I mean, who would have thought a freaking convenience store has bomb-ass coffee, right? I can guarantee that most of us would think coffee from a convenience store would be mediocre or even meh, right? But holy cow, it turned out my prediction was completely off. In my honest opinion, I find their coffee is by far better than any other coffee chains I've tried so far. Like, I swear. My favorite is Dolce Latte. Iced Dolce Latte. It's really good. It slaps. It just gets me going. I think I go there almost once a week. I mean, I can't resist it. Also, if you really think about it, it's such a blessing. Then you can enjoy your 6-ounce iced coffee for, like, what? 2,500 won? It's an absolute steal. I mean, you should really try it. If you haven't, if you're Korean or if you live in Korea and haven't tried their coffee yet, get your ass to a GS. This is not sponsored. This is not an ad. I'm genuinely speaking from my heart. They're my total gem. That's all I got. Thank you for listening and hanging out. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got something out of it. If you also have a favorite coffee spot or a personal coffee recipe that you want to share, feel free to DM me on Instagram or leave a review on Apple or Spotify. New episodes every Thursday, new English episodes every month. So feel free to tune in and hang out whenever. You can listen to Love Being Alone anywhere you stream podcasts. You can check out Love Being Alone Instagram at Love Being Alone by Lynn. You can check out me out on Instagram at YEXLINX. And that's alright for today. Thank you all so much for listening and hanging out. I love you all. I appreciate you all. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.